vlogging more, so using video to kind of record my thoughts, because I've noticed that when I sit down to write, I get in my own way and I miss out on lots of opportunities to share insights and things that I've been doing. So what my intentions are to have like a 10-minute real talk session with you. So I have my timer. It's the very first one. So here we go. So when this timer goes off, I am done. I'm going to share an unexpected lesson that I gleaned from being in Las Vegas this weekend. I was tagging along with my husband to Idea World. It's a big fitness event. He was a speaker there for a couple days, and I had that opportunity to go as well. And I found myself on Sunday just wanted to hang out in the hotel room while he had some stuff to do at the event. And as I got ready for the day, I turned on the TV and it fell on the channel Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. So I listened to a lot of different people that she interviewed and found myself running to my notebook, writing things down. One of the topics that, or insights, unexpected lessons that I came across I want to share with you today has to do with the fact that we live in a culture of judgment. And the only way to transition out of always judging and criticizing is to go into the phase of empathy. And a great strategy that was shared by one of the authors she interviewed, which I do not recall, said that we need to start asking questions. And the question we need to ask is, what is it like to be you? And I thought, wow, that is really insightful. And it is. And as a coach, for me to best help the moms that I work with, that's what it all boils down to, is asking the right questions. So wanting to separate, or not separate, to transition from judgment to having a more empathetic view by asking that question, what is it like to be you? So I was like, okay, that's great. I can take that away and we can use that in what we're doing here. Well, today was a great test of asking that question, because Alexander had to go to the dentist today, and it was not a routine visit. He has a spacer really on both molars that are helping to save the space for the teeth on both sides that had been pulled due to lack of good dental hygiene, cavities. So they were saving the place. Well, when we were away on our last trip, the actual metal that pushes against the tooth in front of it came out. So all that was left is the ring with a couple of rough edges. So today I called and said, you know, this is what happened. They're like, well, we can squeeze him in. We'll see what's happening. So when I told him, I was like, oh, what are we going to do today that's fun? I'm talking about doing fun things. And then I said, oh, and we got to go to the dentist. I said, I got to get you in. So he stood there, would not leave by my side, and listened as I called. And they said they could get him in today at 2. And this look of worry transformed into this look of fear. And I said, and he was like, well, how many hours before we have to go, 1 or 2? And I was like, well, we will leave in about an hour. And his dread continued to grow into it was like he went from being okay with, yeah, I know I got to go get this checked out, make sure everything's okay, to, oh my gosh, I'm going in just an hour today. And he broke down in tears. So I remembered to have empathy, ask questions, thinking, what is it like to be him at this moment? I understand as a parent talking to my child that he is worried, he is filled with fear, and most likely the fear of, when children go to dentists, they're fearful of, is it going to hurt? And he's already been through so much dental work already, so I'm not exactly sure what memory he's pulling out of his head. So in an effort to be reminded of what is it like to be him at this moment that I'm telling him we're going to be going to the dentist, I start trying to remind him of, you know, when we went before, and telling him stories about how he was so brave and how he did a good job. Did not work at all. And his fear just grew. He became more upset. And I, in turn, became more frustrated because nothing I was doing was working. So he just melted. He fell on the ground. Well, actually, he didn't fall on the ground yet. Patrick was downstairs on a coaching call and hears Alexander screaming. So, with his headphones in, is running up the stairs because he thinks something is wrong. And I'm like, he's fine. We're going to the dentist today. So Patrick's look of, oh no, what's happening was, oh, okay, gotcha. So he turned around to go downstairs. There's Alexander with his mom saying, you're fine. His dad being worried for him and saying, oh, he's okay, turns around and leaves. So Alexander decides to fall to his knees. Now at this point, I have lost my patience. I have reached a point where I'm like, what I'm doing is not working. And yes, in retrospect, I could have taken more time to truly step into his shoes to see what it is like to be him. But in these moments of, I don't know if it's just my lack of patience or maybe it's just parental roles and children needing to listen and be obedient and do as I say. Come on, get yourself together. We got to go. Come on, let's get over this. Because I know that Alexander did go home. Go downstairs. Patrick is very patient and had a conversation with him. So the next thing I know, Alex is back upstairs and he's still crying, and I hear him run downstairs, and Patrick is on a phone call. So when I go downstairs, I'm like, you cannot be down here, and Patrick's going like this. So I pick him up, bring him upstairs, and on the way upstairs, he is hitting me. So I have totally lost my cool. I start taking things away. The they were threats, and it was only escalating his behavior. I went ahead and went into the bathroom and took a couple deep breaths and realized I got to handle this, and I got to find the best way to get this kid to calm down. So I check my face to make sure it is not looking like this, and I sit down and turn on the TV. I was like, what cartoon would you like to watch while I get ready before we leave? Reminding him that we're leaving just a little bit. What's going to help you calm down? So sitting there and actually giving him attention, knowing that there's no stories I can bring up in the past that are going to make this better. He needs me to be there with him right now, which is so timely because we're talking about being present, being in the here-ness, depositing yourself in the moment. What a difference that makes. And because I stopped trying to fix it, stopped trying to be like telling stories of when I was a kid or when he's already been there, and just being for him in that moment made a tremendous difference. And all of a sudden he began to calm down. I wanted to bring in special reinforcement, so I pulled out my lavender oil, and he saw me get the bottle, and he kicked his shoes off, and his feet, he's just like he was ready. He knew that that would also help to calm his nerves, calm him down. So I rubbed lavender oil on his feet and rubbed it on his chest. We do the smell that, and he was calming down. Not because Tom and Jerry was on, not solely because Tom and Jerry was on and he got to choose it, not solely because the lavender was helping calm him down, but because me as a parent being there, what is it like to be you? He just wants someone to be there with him, not someone to console and fix it, but just be present. Because sometimes that's all it is, just giving some attention and being with that person. So we go to the dentist. Patrick's able to come with us, and I noticed him, because we practice deep belly breaths when he gets upset, so I noticed him doing that as they laid him back in the chair, and I'll post a couple pictures underneath this video that I took. So after we got back home, I said, can I ask you some questions? And we're eating lunch, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, why do you think you were so scared? What got you so upset? And he said, it would probably hurt. So yes, there's the fear of hurt. And when it comes to children and their fear of pain, there's no stories that you can tell that make that go away. So the person in me that is impatient and just wants to fix it, that wasn't working. That's why he escalated. So here's where I feel, so there are points in sharing this, there are points in parenting where I feel like I am a failure. Nothing I am doing is working. So I get frustrated and I remove myself. When these are the instances in which I can learn that if I'm truly going to be like, what is it like to be him, to practice more empathy, and to be present more in my life, in my children's life, it's just letting go of everything else, my work, thoughts of stories to make it better, and just being there. And the fact that he told me that he said, I took a belly breath and I was brave. And it felt like the first time I had ever done that, like when you do it for a tooth. Yes, I interviewed him after the fact. So he said, I was like, well, what did you think when the ring popped off? Because it was just a simple procedure. He goes, I said in my head, I'm okay. That totally touched my heart, that He is listening. There are things our children are picking up from us, but in the moment of being overwhelmed, being stressed out, being upset, we miss that. And I think it's in that calm and taking that step back and trusting that oh, yep, there it is. There's the timer. So what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway, Holly? It's been 10 minutes. I think the takeaway is, well, I can say from my perspective, I know a lot of stuff and strategies. I know the right thing to do. And sometimes I'm not truly present if I'm in my head running through a list of what can I do to make this kid calm down. I'm not present. But the minute I let that go and just sit with him, ask him questions, be there with him, calm was almost instantaneous. So there you go. There's my very first 10-minute real talk. If you like me doing these, can you please let me know? Help hold me accountable to stick to these. I want to be a better storyteller. I want to be a better coach to you by sharing more of my life. And I want it to help cultivate my ability to actually write the stories that I have in my head and my heart to share. And I think that video is the place to begin. Thank you for your time today. You are appreciated.